Dressage Plus. In today's video, it is the second video of a video series all about how to remember your dressage test, and also talking about the main learning styles so that you can work out what your main learning style is, so that you make sure you're learning your dressage test in the correct way for you to get the most out of your competition riding, and make sure you're showing up feeling confident that you will remember your dressage test. So last week I spoke about the 2 reasons that people forget their dressage tests, so you can go back and watch that video if you haven't already seen it. This week though, I want to share with you the 4 main learning styles and just talk briefly about what they are. And you also get the opportunity to download my riding quiz that I have, so you'll find the link on this page. And if you don't already know what your preferred learning style is, you can download the quiz and just take the short quiz to work out what your preferred learning style is, because it will make learning to ride, the way you process what your instructor's saying and the way you learn your dressage test a lot easier once you know what your preferred learning style is. So I find it quite interesting to go back and take the quiz every now and again as well, just to see, as I'm growing and learning, is my learning style changing. So if you have already taken the quiz but it was a couple of years ago, you might like to take it again. So today's video, I want to share with you a little bit more about each of the 4 learning styles. So the 4 learning styles are visual, kinesthetic, auditory and auditory digital. So I'll go through one at a time and just give it a little bit of I suppose the characteristics towards each 4 styles, and you might be able to guess what your style is even. So visual people that are highly visual and learn through a visual manner, prefer learning through watching something happen. So let's take shoulder in for example. If their instructor's teaching them how to ride a shoulder in for the first time, they will find it easiest to see another rider and horse ride that shoulder in or watch a video of it, and they will then be able to more easily go out and start to learn shoulder in. They will also, a visual person usually can walk into a room and they can see everything going on around them. They can come out of that room and you can ask them where things are laid out, what colour things are, and they'll generally be able to tell you those answers. They remember what their best friend's been wearing. They pick up on all those visual cues. So they also, because they're very visually aware, they present themselves in a really nice manner. So they're the people in the at the clinics wearing the beautiful joddies and tops and just matching colours. They've got beautiful bandages wrapped perfectly on their horse's legs. Their horses present really beautifully. They're the people that really value looking good. They tend to, women in particular, obviously tend to have their fingernails looking really nice. So they might have fake fingernails on or beautifully manicured fingernails. And they learn by obviously visually looking at things. So in a classroom situation, they will prefer to see a demonstration happen or be watching the teacher talking at the front of the room or even just through a textbook. They can visually look at the words on the text and take it in that way by reading. They enjoy reading. Now, a kinesthetic person. Kinesthetic is, I suppose, a fancy word for feeling and doing. So a kinesthetic person is someone that learns really well through getting out and doing something. So let's use the shoulder in as an example again. Their instructor's teaching them how to ride a shoulder in, so they will learn best through just getting out and doing it and making mistakes, practicing, trying different things and working out what works well and what doesn't work well. They are the type of people in a classroom that might not sit quietly, and they will actually learn best at school through being hands-on, doing the activity rather than hearing a teacher say it or seeing it happen. They want to get out and put their hands on it and feel it and do it. The kinesthetic people tend to talk a little bit slower because they like to think about what they're saying and get a feeling for notice how does that make them feel before they actually say it out loud. So they can sometimes talk a little bit slower, where visual people get a picture in their head of what they want to say, and they talk quite quickly because there's lots of pictures coming up and they're getting it out. So often visual and kinesthetic people can annoy each other a little bit in a conversation because they're on different wavelengths or rhythms. So going back to kinesthetic people, they use language like I feel, I do, I like relax, all those kind of things. They're feeling people. They'll walk into a room and they might not necessarily be able to tell you where everything was situated, what colour certain things were or what people were wearing, but they could tell you how the room felt, who was maybe feeling uncomfortable, who felt sad, or just like, and they can just pick up on feelings like that. So hopefully that describes the kinesthetic a little bit better for you. Moving on to auditory. So auditory people are people that learn well through hearing things. So the teacher can talk at the front of the room and they pick up on things. They much prefer to listen to an audio book than pick up a book and actually visually read a book. They use language like I hear, that sounds good, all those kind of words that are talking about hearing things. And they can be really distracted by sound. So in a busy warm-up or a busy arena, if there's lots going on, or they can hear the wind coming in the background or big trucks or something driving past, they pick up on that and can get a little sensitive to that more so than maybe riders that are more kinesthetic or visual. And so therefore setting themselves up for success by making sure they're in an environment that auditory, like in an auditory world, is suited for them. So if you're highly like you hear noises quite easily and it gets you feeling a bit nervous, then you might want to put headphones in or something like that to distract yourself until you're able to ride through that. Moving on to auditory digital. So these group of people are people that learn really well through logic and facts. So they want to know exactly why something is happening. So when you're thinking about teaching a shoulder in, so someone that's auditory digital, the instructor needs to explain to them, we learn shoulder in because of X, Y, Z. They want to know the benefits of shoulder in. They want to know exactly how to ride a shoulder in, so where their hands go, what their seat does, what their body's doing to the centimetre. And that really helps them get a good understanding, and they use language like logic and understanding, and that makes sense. So that they are always making decisions and choices based on how logic it is, rather than the gut feeling. That's more a kinesthetic way of making a decision. So they are very facts driven, they love knowing all the details, the little details, and they're process driven and they learn things through systems. So they're the 4 main learning styles and a little bit about them. If you're not too sure what yours is, or even just the order that because we have a preferred and then a secondary learning style, so it's a great idea to take the quiz, work out what your preferred learning style is, and then next week I'll actually share with you how you can use, depending on which learning style you are, how you can use that in the horse world to correctly learn your dressage test, so that you're remembering it and it's sinking in properly and not just surface level. So have a great week, guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.